So let's come clean with me for a second. You might have that disturbing feeling in which you feel empty with seeing a couple, having a sense of romantic vibe, having a sense of romantic laughter, while pass by you hand in hand. Well, I've been in your show once, and I think we've been experiencing this a lot as of late. It has been a norm in our society, and it is already a thing for some extent. But hang on, I'm referring to those who do not yet get a significant other, but for those who already have once, well, heads up to you. One thing that you need to think is that aren't they that really happy? Do they argue a lot? Do they constantly compromise? Because I've noticed that they are being a healthy relationship under the guise of a deal breaker relationship that I've never seen behind closed doors. Intimacy, security, respect, good communications, sense of being valued. Those are some of the things that most people would agree to make for a healthy relationship. And we oftentimes see these craps on the internet like multitudinous times. We oftentimes present a flawless and a huge picture of a healthy relationship. But what's really going on? Well, there's a large body of literature on romantic relationship that has identified the picture of a healthy relationships. And most people would also agree on what makes for unhealthy relationships, such things as fighting so much, not being able to go to your partner for support when you need it, contempt, hostility, violence, criticisms. Those are some of the things that most people wouldn't be able to sound on the internet like bluntly. So it is better and prudent to ask yourself these prompts, something like, how do I actually expect and how actually my thinking pattern works towards view of being in a relationship, or how I actually expect her. How do I actually consider her? Do I consider her as much as she is as a network of loved one, emotional backbone, a safety net, or trust circle? Because we expect relationship to be that much way flawless, like rom-com for instance, which stands for as being romantic comedy. But the harsh truth is, relationships are that messy. They take work, communication, and passion. So what's the reality? Well, you might find yourself stumped at this point due to the fact that a lot of people nowadays are much way too nice or passive or operate understanding. So then it is really common and easy to do because of that. Toxic relationship much way like a prevalent that you realize, and it can be difficult to look for. There is a chance you are in a hurtful relationship. Didn't even realize it, but the term of manipulation gets thrown around a lot as of late. I think a lot of people would be able to identify the term of manipulation, whether it happened to themselves, such as you wanna go outside with your friends, right, hanging out with any of your coworkers, right, acquaintances, or even your blood related, but your partner start to drag you or force you to lock in your room, like being at home, and your partner is the real manipulator. That's really super common manipulation as of late. But the way manipulation work is slowly built over time, and it almost entirely emotional. Like your partner actually start to isolating you from your friends, right? Acquaintances, coworkers, even your work related.
I could take it all back, let's let it all. Would pull you from a time.
And so on and so forth. Like your partner start to picking up the things that she or he doesn't like, such as individual at the time. Something like, well, I don't like the way Nick talk to you. Don't you think that Nick drinks way too much? Well, that's not responsible of him. Little implement something like that could potentially make you view your friends not as highly one by one and starting to trust your partner, right? And a few months after this goes by, a few days after this goes by, a few weeks after this goes by, and you are not eventually hanging out with any of your friends anymore. And yeah, your partner successfully isolated you, which means she has so much control over your thoughts and your emotion, right? And I think it is common and actually crucial to keep in mind that everything in life is much more humanized than we talk about it. Be that as it may, is synonymous with a situationship that has successfully stimulated a large percentage of people nowadays. Well, me personally, that is really pretty much traits. Pretty much feels like so delightful once my significant other pay closer attention for me. It seems like all of my messages being delivered towards her effortlessly, and it is so much delightful to me till get to the point like, oh, I just aware and consciously aware of the boundary, and it all comes down to one question: how do I actually address my feeling, and how actually I view her as much as she is, and doesn't she have the same feeling as I do, right? Because when it comes to situationship, it is merely about boundaries, right? Which means it has such a lack of commitment. It's like also so much perplexed, complicated, and emotionally exhausted, you could tell. But it also could be common in the landscape of, yeah, modern dating, I think. And situationship is the precise part of human interaction in and of itself. To me, it is merely about consistency and having this idea of being fulfillment, and providing a sense of values, right? And also in situationship, communication is merely about sporadic, which means you kind of like start the conversations the only to experience a few months of like a radio silence, right? And yeah, that's oftentimes taking place in our society as of late, and I've been experiencing this too. This consistency can create a roller coaster of emotions, right? Which means, oh damn, like you kind of like questioning yourself, yo, doesn't she already have another guy or something like, any other or significant other or something like that? Because again, back to my previous statement was that situationship merely about like having lack of commitment, like uncertainty label. So yo, you just like free, like feel free to actually interact with the other guys without even worrying about your partner, like yo, get mad, she about to get mad at me. And you might once find your significant other like having conversations or chatting or hanging out with other guys actually without even knowing you, and she kind of like preventing it from you, promising by you, right? That's a super common condition in our society as of late. But if I have a chance like to provide ideas or kind of like to spread my own perspective towards relationship, it is merely about like, shouldn't we mitigate our belonging and provide it to our loved ones without even wanting something in returns. But that's not the way it works to me. To me, it's merely about we mitigate something like we belonging and provide it towards our loved ones, and we kind of like wanting something in returns, which is means like providing, and you kind of like exchange the value, right? And something like attentions or something like that, and having to listen to your partner when she has a burden days or something like that. That's how I actually define, and how that's how I actually expect. To me, how I define love is that as much as it is providing something and wanting something in return. That would be it, my brother. Have a good one.